PSG connection. Debrief in English.
All right, let's jump right in.
I'm good.
Today, we're diving deep into, well, we're going to call it Le Classique.
Ooh.
PSG versus Marseille, and I'm pumped for this one.
I mean, this is huge, right?
It's a big one.
This is like their Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we're going to get right into the mind of Luis Enrique, PSG's coach, with an exclusive listen into the pre-match press conference.
Pre-match press conferences, they're always so good. So much you can read between the lines, right?
I'd love those.
Oh, yeah, they're like a window into the pressure cooker. Like, how's he feeling?
Right before the big game, right?
Yeah.
What's the strategy?
Exactly.
And especially with a rivalry like this.
Oh, come on. I mean,
it's massive.
this isn't just a game. It's bragging rights for the whole city.
Yeah. Like the whole city's kind of riding on this, right?
Yeah. It could
Like their version of El Clasico.
Yeah, you could totally say that.
Yeah. And just to add another layer to this, Enrique's going up against like a whole different Marseille team than last year.
Completely different. I mean, they got De Zerbi now.
Yeah, that's right. De Zerbi.
And he's all about that high press
I love that.
attacking style.
Yeah, he's a fun manager to watch.
He's exciting.
So what does Enrique have to say about this new De Zerbi?
Well, right away, right off the bat, Enrique gives him props. He's like, look, De Zerbi's legit. He's got a clear style. He's recognized. He even says he likes De Zerbi's style.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's like, it's the style that I really like.
Yeah.
So there's that mutual respect.
So I like that he's not underestimating the opponent.
No, he knows what he's up against.
Yeah.
And what's even more fascinating is, I don't know if you picked up on this, but their philosophies are kind of similar, De Zerbi's and Enrique's.
They are a little bit, yeah.
So it's like a battle of like masterminds, but they're using similar weapons.
It's going to be interesting to see like who can, execute it better.
Right. Whose version of the attack is more effective?
Yeah, exactly.
And the fans, I mean, you can imagine.
Oh, they're going to be going nuts.
They're going to be going crazy for this one.
And with that atmosphere,
I
right?
know, yeah.
One of the journalists asks Enrique about, keeping his players calm amidst all this chaos.
Like, how do you handle these guys when the whole city's on fire, basically?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and Enrique, he's very insightful here. He says it's all about maintaining the right level of, like, motivation. It's like you don't want them too hyped up where they can't think straight.
Right. Like, almost too much adrenaline is bad.
Exactly. Yeah, he's talking about avoiding, like, an excess of excitement, which can lead to, like, mental blocks on the field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like stage fright, but for football.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's cool is he actually mentions that he learned this from a past coach.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it's just a reminder, even at this level, everyone needs a mentor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Everyone can learn from someone else.
Absolutely. And the press conference wouldn't be complete without a little bit of drama.
Oh, of course.
So naturally, Gonzalo Ramos' injury comes up.
Yeah, everyone wants to know when he's coming back.
Everyone wants to know. And a journalist throws the question out there, when's Ramos back?
Yeah.
And Enrique, he's like, oh, the 25th, but he leaves out the month.
Oh, he's so good at that.
So classic.
It's like a little joke, but it's also, there's something deeper there, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's deflecting the pressure.
Yeah.
But if you really listen to what he's saying, he's emphasizing that it's not about one player. It's about the team.
Right. And like, they can't just rely on one star to come back.
Exactly. He's like, the key is for the team to improve as a whole, not just wait for Ramos to save the day.
I love
And this is where I think his coaching philosophy really shines through. He's got this galaxy of stars at PSG, but he's all about the collective. It's not about the individual, it's about the team.
Right.
So I mean that's something to keep in mind as we dive further into this.
There's another interesting thing I noticed about the makeup of this PSG team. They got like a pretty big Portuguese contingent.
They do.
You got Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, João Neves. And so a journalist asks Enrique about, how important these Portuguese players are. And I love his response. He says, I love all Portuguese players, even the bad ones. And then he's like, obviously that was a joke.
Oh, I love when he does that.
But he's clearly acknowledging their quality while also being like,
He doesn't want to play favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, hey, I'm not biased. But then he cleverly steers the conversation to the fact that two of these guys, Vitinha and João Neves, are Ballon d'Or nominees.
Oh, right. The Ballon d'Or, which for those who might not know.
Yeah, like the Oscars of football.
Yeah, it's like the biggest award you can get.
So for him to have 2 of those on his team,
That's huge.
that's bragging rights right there.
And it says something about PSG as a club, too.
Absolutely.
But I've got to bring up this stat that just jumped out at me when I was doing the research for this.
Okay, hit me.
So apparently, Enrique, he hasn't repeated the same starting 11 in any game this season.
You're kidding me.
I swear to God.
Wow.
I looked it up.
So is he intentionally trying to keep the opponents guessing?
Well, a journalist actually asked him about that.
Okay.
And get this.
Yeah.
Enrique claims he wasn't even aware of it.
No way.
It wasn't a deliberate thing.
He had no idea.
He says it's simply because he's evaluating players' performance in training and in matches.
So he's like constantly tweaking and adjusting.
Yeah, and he's picking, whoever he thinks is best suited for that particular opponent or like that game situation.
So it's not some mind game. It's just
purely based on what he's seeing.
the performance based.
It's almost like Moneyball, but for football.
Yeah.
It's like he's taking the emotion out of it.
Right.
And it's just, okay, who are my best 11 guys to put out there?
It's very data driven, very analytical.
I like it.
Yeah, it's bold though, right?
It is bold because when you got those big egos on the team.
Oh yeah, those guys are expecting to start.
And you're just like, no, sorry, not today.
Right. You got to earn your spot every single game.
Yeah.
He keeps everyone on their toes.
But and I love this approach, but there have been some concerns about PSG's attack.
Mm-hmm. They create chances.
They create so many chances.
But they've had trouble finishing.
Especially in like high pressure games.
Yeah, and a journalist brings up this exact point to Enrique.
Ooh.
Yeah. But Enrique, he doesn't even flinch. He's like, look, I'm not worried at all. We're actually scoring more goals than last season,
So he's focusing on the positives.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, I think that's important as a coach.
Absolutely.
Like you got to instill that confidence.
And what I find really interesting here is he's really emphasizing building that confidence in his players to keep creating those chances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not dwelling on the misses, but like, hey, you're getting into those positions, keep doing that, and the goals will come.
Yeah, don't focus on the negative. Like, hey, you're creating chances.
Yeah, keep shooting, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
So keep getting those opportunities, and eventually they'll start falling.
And it's not just the players he's talking to here, right? He's also sending a message to the fans, acknowledging their passion, the high expectations, especially for this match.
Oh yeah, you can't ignore the fans in a rivalry like this.
Especially for Le Classique.
Yeah, they're like the 12th man on the field.
Exactly. And he kind of reassures them, right? He's like, look, we're going to fight to the very end. We want to live up to that support you give us.
Yeah, it's a smart move, I think, to acknowledge them directly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it shows that he gets it,
Yeah.
He understands that it's not just about the tactics, it's about the emotional weight of this game.
Absolutely.
And speaking of, Enrique and rivalries,
Yeah.
we can't talk about that without bringing up his history with Barcelona.
Of course, yeah. Those Real Madrid-Barcelona clashes.
Epic battles.
Legendary stuff.
Yeah, so naturally, journalists ask him like, hey, how does Le Classique compare to that Spanish showdown?
That's a tough question.
Oh, such a loaded question.
Especially coming from a Barcelona guy.
Right.
Who's now coaching PSG.
And Enrique handles it like a pro, right?
Yeah.
You can't choose a favorite, obviously.
Absolutely.
But he acknowledges that both of those rivalries are they're so intense in their own way.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't compare them, but I can say that the fans here in Paris, they've made me feel the weight of this game from day one.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, the city lives and breathes this rivalry.
Mm-hmm. And you can feel that pressure.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so special.
But what I really like about his response is that he brings it back to his coaching philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
He says, it's not just about winning, it's about making the fans happy.
Yeah, it's about more than just the 3 points. Right?
Yeah, it's about like giving them something to cheer about.
Yeah, giving them a reason to be proud of their team.
Yeah, and he wraps up the press conference, on this nice little optimistic note.
Hopeful.
Yeah, he's hopeful. He's like, we want to give our supporters something to celebrate. We want to come out on top.
And you can just tell that he means it,
Mm-hmm.
Like he genuinely wants to deliver for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
He's a competitor at heart.
Absolutely.
He wants to win.
Yeah.
But he also understands, the the bigger picture.
It's the importance of it.
Yeah, the emotional connection.
But then, oh, a journalist brings up a little fun fact
Okay.
about Enrique's playing days.
Oh, I love when they dig into the past like that.
So back in the 97-98 season, he scored 25 goals.
That's a lot of goals.
That's a lot of goals.
Especially for a midfielder, right?
I think he was playing midfield at the time, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So they're asking him, hey, you're working with these strikers who, they haven't been as clinical, and any secrets you can share.
Like, what's the magic formula?
Yeah, and Enrique, he's got that humor.
Oh, he's quick with the jokes.
He's like, well, first of all, you got to realize those videos were in black and white and slow motion. But then he gets serious. He's like, no, but seriously, I'm not worried. We're creating chances. We're scoring more goals than last season.
Yeah. Confidence and creating opportunities, that's what we're focused on.
I love it.
And I think, it's a reminder that, coaching is more than just the tactics and drills.
Yeah, it's about mindset.
It's about understanding your players.
Yeah, and building that confidence.
And building that confidence, creating the right environment for them to thrive, right?
And speaking of, understanding your players, I got to bring up this unique aspect of Enrique's management style.
Okay.
A journalist actually pointed this out. They're like, hey, you haven't repeated the same starting lineup all season.
Not even once.
Not even once. Is it like a deliberate tactic to be unpredictable?
Right. Is he messing with the opponents?
Or is there something else going on?
Yeah.
So Enrique's response is really interesting. He's like, I didn't even realize that.
No way.
Like, he wasn't even aware of it.
So it's not a conscious strategy.
He's making decisions based on what he's seeing in training and matches.
Purely performance-based.
Yeah, picking the players he thinks are best suited for, that specific opponent and that game situation.
Like, I'm going to play the hot hand.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like Moneyball, but for football.
Yeah, it's that data-driven approach.
And I think, it shows a level of trust in his entire squad.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not just the big names. It's like, hey, I believe in all of you, and you're going to get your chance to prove yourselves.
It creates that competition within the team, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's complacent.
Right.
You got to fight for your spot every single game.
Now, a journalist brings up a really interesting point about the Portuguese contingent on the team.
Okay.
He specifically mentions Vitinha, Gonçalo Ramos, and Nuno Mendes, highlighting the fact that Vitinha and João Neves are both Ballon d'Or nominees.
Which, again, that's a huge honor.
Huge.
Like the Oscars of football.
Right. So it's a big deal to have two of those guys on your team.
Yeah. And, Enrique, he starts with his usual humor. He's like, I love all Portuguese players, even the bad ones. Obviously, that was a joke. But then he gets serious, right?
Yeah.
And he acknowledges the importance of these players. He's like, they're doing so much to the team, but he's careful not to, like, single anyone out or create this, hierarchy.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anyone feeling like, well, the Portuguese guys are the favorites.
Right, right.
But at the same time, he doesn't miss the chance to highlight what it means for PSG to have those two Ballon d'Or nominees.
Yeah.
He's proud of them.
Yeah.
And he makes sure everyone knows it reflects well on the club, too.
Smart move.
And finally, we get to the question everyone's been waiting for. The journalist brings up Enrique's experience with both La Classique and the Real Madrid-Barcelona rivalry.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they're like, come on, compare them. Which one is more intense?
Oh, I bet he was ready for that one.
But Enrique, he's a master at navigating these tricky questions.
Sure.
Doesn't fall for it.
Yeah, he's too smart for that.
He's like, I can't compare them. Each one is unique. They have their own intensity, their own meaning. But he does admit that he's felt the pressure from the fans since he got to Paris.
Oh, I bet.
He says they've made him understand just how much this game means to the city.
Yeah, you can't escape that history, right?
It's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But what I love is how he uses this question to bring it back to his coaching philosophy. He says, it's not just about winning, it's about making the fans happy.
That's a good point.
It's not just about the result on the pitch.
It's bigger than that.
Exactly.
It's about the feeling.
It's about the emotions, the pride, the whole experience.
And he ends the press conference, with this message of hope. He's like, we want to come out on top, give our supporters something to celebrate.
And you can tell he means it. You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
There's that determination, but also that understanding of the weight of expectations.
It's a good way to end it.
It leaves everyone wanting more. So, wow, what a press conference, right? We heard Enrique praising De Zerbi, talking about the mental game, that team-first mentality. He even addressed the concerns about PSG's attack.
Yeah, he covered it all.
And he did it all while acknowledging the immense pressure of this rivalry.
It's fascinating.
So what stood out to you? Was it his calmness, that focus on collective improvement, or maybe how he just like danced around that Real Madrid-Barcelona question?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I think we can all agree that this deep dive has given us a real glimpse into the mind of Luis Enrique right before this massive game.
Yeah, this is great.
And it leaves us with one final question.
Huh.
Will his words translate into action on the pitch?
We'll find out soon enough.
That's right. Tune in for Le Classique. It's going to be epic.